What's up, Knife Tube? It's Diamond Cut Steel, and you guys are going to learn something today. Alrighty. So, the reason I'm making this video is because of a common misconception. And it's something that I see a lot, and, well, I'm going to debunk this theory that some people have, which is incorrect. And the reason I'm doing this is because I was just scrolling through YouTube and I come across a reply to a comment of mine from a long time ago that's just flat wrong. So I'm going to show and explain again a common misconception. Alrighty, so what we have here, we just have a simple steel. We have Spyderco ceramic, couple Naniwa vitrified ceramics, Spyderco vitrified ceramic, a vitrified ceramic rod, or centered, whatever you want to call it, and a vitrified ceramic rod. What do all these have in common? Can you tell me? Time's up. Alumina. That is what they have in common. Alumina. All these stones cut via alumina. That is what they have in common. Now, people, and some will argue the point, say this is a home. This is not a home. This is a ceramic alumina rod. This is a sharpening rod. Would you call this a sharpening stone, or would you call this a home? Would you call this a sharpening stone or a home? Okay. Now, most of those people who will argue the fact that this is a home would state that this is a sharpening stone. This is a sharpening stone. Okay? Tell me what the difference is. Tell me what the difference is between these 4 abrasives right here. Well, technically 5. Time's up. Only the shape. They all do exactly the same thing. This removes steel. This removes steel. This removes steel. This removes steel. Full stop. They also do it in exactly the same manner. Therefore, if this is a sharpening stone, then this is a sharpening stone. The only difference would be surface area. That's it. When you're making contact with this plate and you're making your sharpening passes, it is removing steel exactly in the same manner as this will. The only difference is it's over a larger surface area. You have a larger area of stone in contact with the edge versus this rod where your surface area is smaller. Where you're making contact with this blade is on a very, very, very small area. Therefore, this edge believes this is flat. Do you understand? This is round over a large area. But over the contact patch that this rod will be making with this knife, it's as flat as the stone is or close to it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, here's another fact. When I apply 1 pound, just say 1 pound of pressure on this stone, that 1 pound of pressure is being applied over a much larger area. So the PSI is lower. That same 1 pound of pressure here, the PSI is much higher on that specific spot that it is making contact with the edge. Meaning that at the same pressure, this rod, if it was the same grit as this stone, will cut substantially faster. It would almost be like me, let's just say this rod and the stone's the same grit. It would pretty much be equivalent and exactly how the sharp maker's designed. It would be equivalent to me wanting to remove steel quickly. I could come over here to the corner of the stone. I lower that surface area. My PSI it's going to go way up because you're concentrating what the abrasive area that's touching the blade, and it's going to cut much faster. It's just like on a sharp maker. If you want to remove steel quicker, you turn the point sides in and you use the corners of them, and it takes steel off a lot quicker than it will if you're on the flat. It's common sense. It's not, all you got to do is just think about it for a second, and it's self-explanatory. But the fact of the matter is, these are all sharpening stones. This is not a hone. To sharpen is to remove steel. If you're not removing steel, you're honing. Let's take a black Arkansas stone, for example, that's lapped and super slick, super shiny, super hard, super dense, and you're making extremely light passes. You are honing. Is it removing steel? Yes, to some extent, but teeny, 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 teeny amount. That would be a hone. So especially if you're making stropping passes on a true hard arc with very light pressure, you are honing, and that is why you can get such an incredibly fine, incredibly sharp apex off of those stones. That would be a scenario of honing. Or if you was to use a hardened steel, even though to some extent they will remove steel too, but a hardened steel, that would be honing. This is not honing. This does not hone. You are removing steel, no matter, even at extremely light pressures, you are removing steel. But more importantly, you can sharpen on this. And that's what I'm going to show. You can sharpen on this right here the same way you can sharpen on this or this. Okay? This right here will remove steel quick enough that you will quickly create this grit scratch pattern. You will raise a burr. You will do everything that sharpening does. I'm not going to be using no crazy pressure. I'm going to use standard sharpening pressure. Now, in fact, even a little lighter, because my surface area, my contact patch is smaller. So if I'm using the same pressure as I would on the plate, the pressure that the edge is experiencing on this stone is much higher because smaller contact patch. So actually I'm going to use less pressure, but I'm going to show under magnification that this is 100% sharpening. I know people think, oh, if you take and you're honing that, okay. Even that's not honing. It is sharpening. You are cutting that apex away and creating a new one. That's why when you come off of this, let's just say you micro bevel. When you come off this ceramic rod, you have a fresh apex. The original steel that was there, that was the tip, is now gone, and you've created a new one. If you micro bevel, even if you don't micro bevel, I'm going to sharpen it at exactly this bevel angle, just as I would on a stone. I'm going to raise a burr, I'm going to flip the burr, and I'm going to knock the burr off, just as I would on a stone. I'm sharpening. So let's I'm going to move you guys so I can get into position. And I'm not trying to be an asshole or say some people don't know, or oh, I'm smarter than somebody. I don't care if I'm smarter than you, then you're a dumbass. I'm not trying to be smarter than anybody. But I don't like when somebody tries to correct someone and they're wrong. That's exactly the problem that's all over Reddit. And it's what runs Reddit, and it happens a lot on YouTube. And if you don't know, then you shouldn't reply to someone trying to correct them when you're in the wrong. That's exactly that know-it-all mentality is exactly what's destroyed Reddit. And I don't want to say it's doing the same to YouTube, but it kind of is. And I'm speaking in general, not about knives, just in general. And again, I'm not calling anybody out. I have no qualms with anybody. You do your thing. I don't give a shit. I don't care what you do. I don't really care what you say. The only reason that I'm making this video is not because of that specific comment. I'm making this video because it's such a common thing that people don't believe this is sharpening, that it's only honing, or that you can only hone on it. Which, you can go on Reddit right now and put put up, hey, I sharpened on this ceramic rod, and you're going to have 10,000 people say, oh, no, you honed me. But, you know, just that's honing. They just don't know no better. It's what they hear. They hear others say it, and then they follow right along with it. Now that becomes gospel. Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to sharpen it exactly this angle. I'm going to sharpen it exactly this bevel angle. You see that scratch pattern? Okay. We see that scratch pattern. Now, I'm going to take this ceramic rod, change the scratch pattern to this scratch pattern, to this abrasive size, raise the burr, flip the burr, knock the burr off, and be right back to a sharp knife. This, of course, is a sharp edge. So, I'm going to knock this edge off, further showing that I'm sharpening. Okay, so now we knock this edge off. Okay, that's it. She be flat. I'll show you what it looks like after that. Okay, as you can clearly see, we got a flat apex. See that line? Knock that paper off of there. Edge is flattened. Okay. So now we're going to take the ceramic rod, which again is alumina, just like this is alumina. And we're going to sharpen this knife, not hone it. Alrighty, let's do it. That's the width of my contact patch. So, the only place that is touching that edge is that thin line right there. Now, over the circumference of this rod, that small of an area is more or less flat. There's of course, there's some circumference to it, but it's very little. It's like looking out over, looking out at being at the ocean, looking out at the horizon, and then moving your eyes back 1/50th of the way to the horizon. Does the water look flat to you, or does it look flat to you, or does it look like it curves? The water looks flat. Why does it look flat? Because you're covering such a small distance that there's no noticeable curvature, basically. Same thing here. So for all intents and purposes, this edge right here, the steel that's making contact with this rod is basically, it's flat. It's making contact with a flat surface. So we're going to go ahead and work it a little more. I've probably already got a burr raised. We'll go to a fresh spot, just so you can see without me moving at all. You'll see the exact amount of patch that steel is making contact with this rod at. It's very little. You'll see me sliding off like that, so you round the tip of it, but it's very little. Also, just like that stone, if I do dry, it's going to load up. If I use some lubricant, it's going to load up less because the material is the same. Okay. Do we have a burr? Yes, we do. We have a burr. Okay, now let's look at where we're at scratch pattern wise. Okay. That's a clearly finer scratch pattern than was on it, because that rod is finer than the scratch pattern that was on it before. There's where it was. Here's where we was at. Come on. Okay. There's where we was at. And here's where we are. We're definitely at a finer point in scratch pattern. As you can see, okay, I've missed a little bit right there. You can see where the scratch pattern at the apex, down by the apex, is from the ceramic rod. Up there towards the top is the original scratch pattern that was there. So to fully match it up, I need to remove a little more steel. Now, I don't want to make this video take 9 months, but at the same token, I want to show exactly what I was discussing. So we're going to remove a little more steel. Okay. We have a nice healthy burr. So anyway, let's go ahead and start working the other side. Trying to fill that bevel. Okay. Flip that burr back. Okay. Of course, the burr's been flipped. I'll show you where we're at on scratch pattern. Okay, I'm a little off angle. I'm a little higher than it should have been. As you can see, the two different scratch patterns. No problem. We're going to catch that up real quick. See it? This blade moves a little bit, and it's kind of fucking me up a little bit. So I'm going to have to lower that angle a little bit. Now, is this needed, what I'm doing? Not really. But I just want to, you know, do it as if this was a stone. Now, see, the thing is, I've removed the same amount of steel here as I would have on that Spyderco at this point. At that plate. There we go. Now we have a nice, consistent scratch pattern. Okay. We have a healthy burr. Hear it? We have a nice healthy burr. Probably you'll be able to see it. Yeah, you can see it. Easily. Now, just like this was a sharpening stone, we're going to go back to our angle, our sharpening angle. We're going to flip that burr. Work that burr back and forth a few times. You already feel the burr lightening up, meaning it's breaking loose. And now see, I have a flat bevel again. I can feel it intersecting with the stone. No problem. Now we'll just make a edge leading pass or two. Light pressure. And guess what? Guess what we should have? A freshly sharpened edge. Beautiful. There's a little piece of burr on there still. There's a little piece of burr to fill it. That should got that burr gone. There we go. I'm catching the serrations. That's what that noise is, but there's still a little, there is a little piece of burr left. I feel it. Okay. No problemo. Remember, this is not very good steel. Okay. A dry strop. No compound on this drop. Yeah, see, I can feel that little piece of burr. Right now, we're just knocking that burr loose. There's a little piece of burr in the belly that's not wanting to come off. That should have got it. Now we should be very, very, very sharp. And we are. Beautiful. Beautiful. And there we go. What do you know? A ceramic rod sharpened, not honed. If we want to take this to incredibly sharp, let's go over to some 1/4 micron CBN. Make a couple passes. Exactly at sharpening angle. Okay. And now it's going to be an absolute laser beam. Oh yeah. Okay. So the next time somebody tells you a ceramic rod only hones, you can't sharpen on a ceramic rod. Now you know better. This is an absolute razor right now. Incredibly sharp. Oh yeah, let's go over to the finish. Look at that. So a ceramic rod sharpens exactly like a ceramic stone sharpens. Full stop.